Well, it looks like we can get started here. Just want to say thanks for coming out this afternoon for a session, for a quick 15-minute talk here. My name is Bryan. I manage the BI team for Tableau at US Bank for the enterprise side. This is Lance on the team. So we're going to kind of go through, what we'll cover here on some of this is the community that we've kind of grown at US Bank, what our team does for the community and kind of the enterprise side of things, talk about some of our engagement that we have, and then we'll do questions at the end as we go along here. Going to kind of start out, I'm kind of going through some of these. One thing I point out with the team too, and if you guys see a lot of this, you can give a lot more presenters. I know we're getting to the end a little crap because we do all our stuff in Tableau. We don't go to the PowerPoint like everybody else. So that's one major thing we try to present in is Tableau. So, well, our journey kind of started back in 2016. Kind of came in at the point when there wasn't many. As you see here, we had just 121 desktop users along the way. Server only had 20 server people on that one. So at that point, the bank really didn't have Tableau as an enterprise. We kind of came into it, and that's what they were looking for. Myself, I've been around Tableau doing it at multiple places for the last 9 years. So I've been able to kind of build that a little bit at another spot to then come into the bank and kind of start that over again. It's been nice. We kind of started, like I say, small like that and have worked our way up, building the foundation. We kind of started getting at different areas. There was myself and another gentleman, not Lance, but another one that started at the bank around the same time, and we both had different backgrounds. I had the server side and kind of the user with that, and he came in and he had more of the desktop side of things and was able to kind of blend that together and build the foundation for the community. And we brought Lance on, what, about a year and a half ago now? And he's kind of taken that on to that next level of what we kind of started with. I'm going to kind of let you go through some of the numbers here and talk through it.
Yeah, so we've had a lot of great growth in our community. And of course, we really appreciate that because that's job security for Bryan and I as well. But as you can see by some of the numbers, so since the beginning of 2018, we've increased our overall server community there by 740%. And some of the fun things, because really this is more of a community talk, of course, than anything else, is just, and we'll talk about some connection points when we get into sort of some best practices for engagement and those sort of things. But we're really big into our Yammer community, which has been really successful for us as far as answering just questions and really putting a lot of stuff out there for people that are really the subject matter experts that are using the tool every day. And so that's a helpful thing for us. We do a lot of email support, our specific team too, which really ties into communicating back to that community when we see certain issues. So we're running about 90 a month there. And we also do a lot of events for our community, which I think has been really great, particularly for people that are onboarding or newer to the tool. But we do try to mix it up so we can satisfy people that have maybe been using the tool for longer as well. So we run not quite 3 events on average a month, but that takes a lot of effort, and really it comes down to a lot of help from our community and planning on that as well. We do have some planning committees that help us out with that, so that's a big component, I think, of the overall success of our community. So there's 3 that I call US Bank owned, meaning that they're completely driven and ran by our community and our planning committees. And then there's one that we have, we usually get on a call with Tableau about every other week, just so we can strategize about other things and shared events that we might host it and do the logistics, but they'll help out actually deliver those. So that's a little bit about our planning committee. And then the other thing, for those of you that are interested, and I don't know if anybody here, really interested in the community, you're probably often thinking, but I'm just one person. How do I do it? So we pay a lot of attention to kind of our support ratio that we, and actually, I got to scroll down for that. Can I? I don't know that I can, but that's okay. Bryan, if you can figure it out, it's fine. Yeah, okay, there we go. But so we look at kind of a ratio of how many people are on our team, and I work for Bryan here. So there's one of us basically to every 2,670 server users right now. So 4.1 FTs on our team. And that's a big part because, again, that's really not enough to do all these things. So that ties back into the community and really some of the help we've got there.
Yeah, and for our team, we kind of went another route on some of the stuff too. You know, you hear a lot of the companies talking about Center for Excellence. Kind of to go in with our whole theme that we kind of switched it over, we kind of went more branded of Center for Enablement. And we've joked around for other times of, I've heard the word empowerment, so I've kind of joked around we should go C for E square basically on some of that one. So it's kind of fun to hear that they're talking data culture around too this week.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
One other thing is a picture that you see up here, we've kind of started that 3 years ago when we did a lot of this is, our team has kind of been the sponsor that we get our community together from the bank, and this has actually grown every year that we've done it. We try to get something together. We do the happy hour for all U.S. Bank employees and kind of our sales teams and stuff like that, and it's really fun to watch. You kind of get quiet at first, and then the community starts intertwining together and talking and being like, oh, you do that and you do that. And that's kind of a big thing of what our team's trying to push for too on the growth of everything is let the community talk, because they're the ones out there doing the day-to-day stuff, kind of out there and let them say, hey, you're doing something with SharePoint? Oh, well, I'm having an issue. And then it takes a lot of stuff off of our team that we don't have to sit and answer. And it kind of goes in line with what everybody kind of sees with Tableau too, out in the big Tableau public and big community out that way. And we've kind of just made that more of an inside part for US Bank for sure.
And the drinks help too. So I didn't know if I was going to say that, but I just had to. So yeah, and that's actually from last night. So that's our get together. We've already updated it. So some of you that are here today, you can see yourself up there. So isn't that nice? Whoops.
Green.
Okay, so let's talk about just some engagement tips and kind of best practices as far as growing the community. The first one we have here, and I think it's really critical. Often, again, you know, when you're in one of these support areas, you have this impression that you have to do this kind of by yourself or those sort of things. And I can't emphasize enough how helpful our community has been to us, because you definitely don't want to go it all alone. You'd never be able to keep up, really. So kind of a low-hanging fruit, but some of the things that we've found is we always promote it as far as like join a planning committee in a lot of our meetings, but we have a lot better luck when you just ask. So that's kind of the secret, you know, as far as like you have to be willing sometimes to look at different people in your community, kind of the work that they're doing, and maybe some of their posts, the things that they do on Yammer. And we've had very, very good luck by just, you know, asking and approaching people. We do keep, and because of our team and how we can see server and some of the things that are going on there, lists of specialties and things that people maybe know how to do. And sometimes that'll come out in our Yammer community, but we do share those names. So we find that that can be a really useful thing for us too. And the other neat thing I think about doing a lot of the community work on this team is we do get people that approach us with ideas. And you might be sitting here and think, well, that's kind of good and bad, and what if it's not a good idea? We really try to take the approach that any idea that comes to us, we really want to hear it out, you know, so don't look that free gift, you know, and walk away from it. So avoid the no. What we often end up doing is it's more of a yes, you know, let's do that, and maybe we want to do this, and, you know, add these different enhancements. So if a person is willing to help, we're willing to have them figure out a way to do that. We do definitely take our Tableau partners up on offers for assistance, and so it's been great partnering with them and our customer success manager, who's a great guy who's here today. And the other thing that we do is really leverage some of those things that we end up creating. So as we do various events and things like that for our community, we often do them over WebEx, just because we have a pretty wide footprint with people as far as where they're positioned and our developers. So we can't do as many face-to-face things. We do some of them. But the nice thing about doing the WebEx is we record those, and then it really kind of becomes that training artifact that can be used. So we'll keep links to that. People can listen to that, and it'll have very specific US Bank information on it. So our next big tip is really, it's around providing spaces and choice. Oh, and I forgot to say, in case you might be noticing on these visuals that there's a lot of snow. So we come from Minnesota, there's 2 seasons. There's winter, and winter is coming, right? So that's a Game of Thrones reference. So you'll see that in our visual choice in case you're wondering. But this one, there's a lot of space and there's a fork in the road, as you can see. But we have a lot of things that we use for our community. We have a Yammer page, which has been really successful. And what's neat about that, I think, is just to watch people answer a lot of questions that sometimes, honestly, I'm learning myself all the time, where I'm like, I didn't realize that. And so it's great to have so many subject matter experts in so many different areas and collaborate in that way. So we've provided that space. We do a lot of stuff with SharePoint as well. So we've just launched a new site that is updated with there and just has a lot of information on a lot of specific US bank things that we might run into as it relates to Tableau, which helps us answer a lot of our questions as well. We also do the mail support that I mentioned. We'll do proof of concepts with people when they're new and they're onboarding, just to kind of get them acquainted with the tool. And then, of course, there's just a ton of events and resources. So we have our own Makeover Monthly.
Yeah, we try to steal a lot of stuff that's already out there and kind of gear it towards what's going on at the bank. You know, like the doctor sessions, we've kind of switched that around on ours and called them RX and kind of had fun and actually put ourselves out there a little bit sometimes, because we know we can't answer all the questions either, but there'll be ones that we'll maybe put together 2-3 hours on a phone and maybe get questions ahead of time and then try to answer those on the call so others can learn, or just have people come in and kind of have an open hour to come in and just ask any question. It kind of has our dedicated free time for our team so they can the users can kind of ask that question if they want and feel like, hey, I'm not stuck, I have somebody to talk to, I don't have to go to a mailbox and things like that.
Yep. And yeah, we also have our Tableau user group. You know, we've done Tableau teachbacks this year, which is kind of an interesting way. We've really slowed things down a little bit for people that want to dig in really deep as far as how things work. So we're always kind of on the lookout for what might be the new thing that we can implement with the community. And I would say the other big thing that has really helped us a lot, and you saw this in our numbers as you were looking at this, there's just a lot of promotion. So a lot of communication that takes place a lot. And we try to be strategic about that as far as when we do that as well. We've created an events calendar, which is really just a page in Tableau server that people can go out and they can see the things that are upcoming. They can register for them. And we do pretty good. Most of our events for our audience, we tend to run around 150 people or so, and that's for 600 developers that we're often looking at. We've made friends with other communities, and so if you are a bigger organization, and one that we've had a lot of success with, and it probably won't come as a surprise, is the Excel community. So they've got a Yammer community that is out there. We'll talk with them. There's a Python community. So we make contacts, and then we work with Tableau because we can then look at that information and see who has attended our events that doesn't maybe already have a license. We do recognize our contributors a lot, publicly and privately. I'm going to recognize one today right now. So we don't usually do this, but we happen to know it's somebody's birthday, and she's right back there. So one of our community members, Leah. So give her a round of applause. Happy birthday, Leah. And Leah's done a lot for us, so you didn't know that was going to happen.
She's one that comes up with a lot of ideas for us, too. In fact, last night at the party, she had more ideas for us, so now she gives us more work to do. So she gives us the ideas to figure out how to bring it to the community.
Yeah, it's all fun. So that ties into the recognition. We also do just hold contests, and we use Tableau Swag. So we work with them to come up with certain events that are things that we can promote in our events. And I think then that'll bring us just about to our last slide. So other tips that we have are just, keeping that updated mailing list of who's out there. That's really, that mailing list is your best friend. We spend a lot of time listening and even polling our community. So putting out a survey, see how people feel about things. We use our data from the events of where people attend, because we're doing things in WebEx, to see who's constantly attending but not necessarily contributing yet. And so we've had a lot of luck with just finding out who's lurking and finding out, well, what's the motivation there, and do you want to actually participate? And then, as I had mentioned earlier, the support requests. So I think that
brings us up to
our
it. So
15-minute
yeah,
lightning
we've
talk.
got, if you have questions, feel free to ask them away, and thanks for coming out.
Yep, thank you.